This is,
Let's turn it off.
you get stickies. Hey? Pretty soon we're going to be right on.
It's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call the Board of Trustees of Wa-Nee Schools meeting to order. Right on the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trevor, can you roll call please?
Christina Leishman?
Here.
Kurt Flickinger?
Here.
I'm here. David Kaufman?
Here.
Don Lehman? Here. John Payne? Here. Brian Topping? Here. Jessica McFarland?
Here.
Gretchen Thomas?
Here.
And Scott Cromer.
Here. The first item on the agenda is the first preliminary determination hearing regarding the proposed renovations and improvements to school facilities throughout the school corporation. These improvements include roofing and paving, HVAC upgrades, site and athletic facility improvements, and the purchase of buses, equipment, and technology, collectively referred to as the project. If you wish to speak during the hearing, please ensure that you have signed in the sign-in sheet located at the back of the room, including your name and address. Members of the public will have an opportunity to provide comments regarding the proposed projects. We ask that speakers limit their remarks to 3 minutes and focus their comments on the proposed projects under consideration. The notice of this preliminary determination hearing was published as required by law on July 29, 2026 in the Warsaw Times-Union and the Goshen News. At this time, I'll open the public hearing and invite comments from members of the public regarding the proposed renovations and improvements to school facilities.
I would ask him for you.
There were some people signing on public input. Was this for public input or was this regarding the proposed renovations? Thank you everyone who provided or did provide comments. Having provided the public with an opportunity to be heard, I now declare the public hearing on the proposed project closed. Please let the minutes reflect that the public hearing concerning the proposed project has been duly held and closed. Next item on the agenda is recognition of visitors and public input. We have some sign in at the meeting. The board president, myself, last key speaker, call you by name, address, topic. Each statement shall be limited to 3 minutes. No participant may speak more than on any one topic. This portion of the board meeting will be limited to 30 minutes per topic unless extended by another board. If there is more than one person on a particular topic, the board shall attempt to allow a proportionate amount of time for each position. First one we have is Chris Hirschman.
Hi. So, for the last 10 years, I've served here in Wa-Nee as the school resource officer, and that recently came to an end, as you guys are aware. So for 10 years, I've stuck up for kids and encouraged them to speak truth and to speak for themselves and stand up for what's right. And I feel like through this process, I was going to just go away and not say anything because that's what I feel was best. And then I saw a lot of wisdom from a lot of people, and they said that I needed to stand up and talk about this real quick. I'm not here to be confrontational. Please don't think that I am. But what I am is there's rumors going around the school now that I was fired from my position for doing something inappropriate with a teenage girl, which is exactly how I knew this was going to play out. So I'm here to put on the record, not what happened, because out of respect for the family that filed a complaint on me, but just so that it is on the record to say, one, I, by my chief of police, did not violate any law enforcement policy. I did not violate the law. And by a conversation I had with Dr. Croner in his office, I did not violate a school policy. So, and if you guys think something different, I do, welcome that conversation. But I do want that to be on the record as the way this went down, the private meeting, I understood why. I did. I didn't understand why Chief Ruley recommended that this not be taken immediately, and 2 days later, I was told that I was dismissed. I've been told two different things. I've been told that this was a board decision, and the board made the decision it was a board vote, and that was your guys' decision. I've also been told that it was Dr. Croner's decision, and that he didn't need board input for that. I'm just putting out there what I've been told. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It is what it is, and we are going to move forward with it. But I just know we have to do something to protect our SROs. We have to do something to protect our mental health program. The referendum's coming, totally support it. But we do have to make sure something like this never happens again. I do feel like the way that it was handled was not right. But that's here nor there. I just wanted it on the record to show that I did not violate law, school policy, or police department policy. So therefore, the rumor that's going around that I did something inappropriate with a high school student is false. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Next on signed in is Candy Coffin.
Hello, my name is Cami Coffin, and I'm a lifelong resident here of Waukerusa and Napanee. I am a parent to a junior and senior at Northwood High School. I am a local pastor, and I am a very concerned community member. I wanted to come tonight to just speak in support of Officer Hirschberger. I think his character and who he is as a man and as a leader in this community is par none to anybody that I know. I think he has poured his heart and soul into these children, my kids included. I think my niece probably wouldn't have graduated if it wasn't for him. And I just want to say that I'm so disappointed about how this was handled. I felt like he didn't get a voice in the matter. And I feel like I'm here on behalf of all of the people that don't know what happened, and who, as they come back to school, realize that Officer Hirschberger isn't going to be there, and that they would be upset and disappointed and outraged as well. And so I feel like I'm speaking for those people, because if I believe that everybody knew what happened and how this went down, I think you'd have a line from here to Waukerusa of people in support. So I just wanted to voice my support for him and disappointment in how it was handled. And I appreciate you listening.
Thank you. Next person signed in is Kevin Edwards.
Nothing said.
All right, that's all that are signed in. So we will go on to consent items. I'm sorry, amendments to the agenda, which have been sent out to all of you. Are you okay with that? Yes.
I move we accept the amendments to the agenda as provided.
Second.
I have a motion from Christina, a second from Trevor. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The motion carries 7-0. Next, we have consent items, consisting of board and executive minutes, claims and donations, personnel items, professional leaves, and grants and donations.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent items as presented.
Second.
A motion from David, second from John. Any questions or discussion on those?
Ken Myers, Ken does, yeah, right?
Ken was there. Oh, it does? Which line's that?
Two,
So that should be.
RS 212.
Where is that?
Yep, top of the second page, item
discussion? All those in favor with that correction, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries 7-0. All right, moving on to action items. First one, consider the approval of the sale of school buses.
The board pack, you have a memo, made on sale of some school buses. Would like to take them to auction and recommend approval as presented.
Make a motion to approve the sale of school buses.
A motion from Trevor, a second from Brian. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries 7-0. Next item, consider approval of permission to advertise for the 2027 budget.
Okay, I'm gonna go over really quick the budget, before you give permission. I wanna talk about the dates really quick. You're giving permission to advertise the budget, which is the Form 3, the CPF plan, and the bus replacement plan. That has to be advertised 14 days before our hearing. Our hearing is scheduled for September 14th. Our adoption then has to be 10 days after the hearing, which is scheduled for October 12th. So as you can see, we have plenty of time in between those dates for everything that needs to be done. I'm going to skip forward. And so if you have any questions about any of the slides that I'm skipping, just let me know. I'm going to skip and talk about the assessed valuation. So as you can see on this slide, assessed valuation has increased quite a bit since 2020. It's never really increased at the same amount. It's all over the place. And if you remember last year when we presented, we talked about Senate Enrolled Act 1 and how we thought that assessed valuation would decrease over the new law that was taking place. What we're seeing in the preliminary numbers, we're set to come out August 1st, and so we're seeing that assessed valuation is projected to actually increase, and we're thinking between 5 and 9%. And so what that means is levy divided by assessed value is tax rate. So if the assessed value goes up, then our total tax rate will continue to decrease. The next slide is our ADM. Now, ADM drives our education fund, which is not tax supported, but we're still going to talk about education fund just here really quick. The bar graph or the line graph that you see here, you can see in 2019 we peaked. So since COVID, we continued to decrease. The last little bubble there is just our projected. What we projected to the DOE for this next school year was 2,755. That's 40 students lower than what our second count was last year. And so this sheet is our monthly payments from the DOE that is driven by our student count. And I know it's pretty small, but this starts the FY27. So this would be our July payment based on the 2,755. Those monthly payments are really close to where we were at the end of last school year. And one of those reasons, even though our count went down, one of those reasons is the basic tuition support per ADM does continue to increase. And so it increased by 105 from last school year to this school year. Last year it was quite a bit more. It was 317, but if you remember, the state started paying for our textbooks and that. So that's why we're seeing a little bit less of an increase this year. If we keep going, just talking a little bit more about education funds. The far bars over here is 2025. The dark black bar represents revenue, the red represents expenses. So as you can see in 2025, the differential between the two is quite a bit less than what we saw in 22, 23, and 24. Just as a reminder, that was because of the COVID or the ESSER money, where we diverted expenses to the ESSER fund, and then also in '24, we received in our textbook reimbursement fund into education fund. So our goal is exactly this. Our goal is to see a break even. We never want to spend more than what we take in, but we want to break even between revenue and expenses. Again, this is a line graph of our education fund balance over the last several years, doing exactly what that previous slide. We can see a pretty dramatic increase, and then we're going to plateau it off as we are breaking even. This slide is just a breakdown of our education fund expenses. As you can see, salary and benefits take up most of, or 97% of the total expenses in the education fund. As we move forward, this is just a summary of where we're at right now with our 2026 budget. Our current EV is $1.78 billion. Our tax rate is 93.4 cents, and our levy is 16.7 million. That is our total tax rate for all of our tax funds. So that would be our debt service, our referendum, and our operations, and then the total levy for those three funds as well. Just really quick, our debt service, this is our approved payments for 2026, and then the approved, our anticipated payments for 2027, what we'll be taxing for. You can see our anticipated debt for 2026. That's what we talked about tonight in the preliminary determination hearing, and then also in 2030, the 2016 and the 2017 lease rentals will be paid in full. Capital projects, we keep that pretty vague, so we have some flexibility to spend throughout the year. And then that takes us to bus replacement. Bus replacement is 27 through 2031. We're held to 2027. So you can see we have 4 regular buses and a mini in there at $1,050,000. We have that budgeted in operations, but as you know, we will more than likely use the debt service and our bond proceeds for that as well. And then this is just basically our Form 3 in a summary form. There's really no changes from the previous year. The operations fund, remember that that's, we're capped at the levy, and so, and that's given to us by the state, and so our levy is going to be 8.1 million. So you can see that our request levy is 9.8. We'll have to cut some appropriations from the 2026 budget, which is not a problem. And the safety referendum, will be capped at 1.75 million, and so we'll just have to cut a little bit from the current appropriations. That's it.
I make a motion that we approve to advertise the 2027 budget as outlined.
A motion for Christina, second from Brian. Any questions or discussion?
I was curious, the ADM, like, this kind of seems like it's a faster drop, you know, like we're anticipating a bigger drop than what we've seen the last couple of years. So I was just curious, like, I know it's just a guess, I get it, but like, what's the logic in it dropping more? What's the thought of it dropping more this fall?
Well, we always give a conservative amount, so
Okay.
that's just a conservative amount. We would never want it to drop, and the thought is it never dropping that low. It's just a conservative
Kind of a worst
estimate.
case
Yes.
scenario, hopefully.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
good.
Yeah, we utilize the cohorts model method. We've talked about this before. Basically, what are the average percentages of students either gain or lose going from cohort to cohort, going from second grade to third grade to fourth grade, and what are those trends over the last 5 years. We run that number over. Typically, we're retaining around 98% of our kids per grade level, and so that would indicate a slight decrease. And then we give that number to Jessica because she then works that number into our budget, and again, budget conservatively. It's just a safety measure for budgets.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That
Career Center agreement. This reflects what we approved the last 10 years that I've been here. Some good news, this is a slight decrease in the cost per student, so we're excited about that. So obviously we want to continue to offer these programs that we have through our partnership with our Career Center, and so we're recommend approval as presented.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2026-27 Elkhart Career Center agreement.
Second.
A motion for second. Motion from David, second from Don. Any question or discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Next item, consider approval of the out-of-state and overnight trip request for those listed.
And this would also include the ones that are on the agenda items. One thing I do want to note, though, on the boys and girls soccer cross-country state finals, currently right now, this one should not have been on here, but you can approve it if you want. We currently don't have the correct student-to-staff ratio. We require 12 to 1 as a student-staff as an overnight. Currently, we have 25 students and 2 staff members that are planning to attend. And so if we approve it, I'll make sure that we approve it under pretense that we do meet our board policy. If that's not, if you guys would rather just table that, that's totally up to you. But, that one should not have made it on here. That's an error. We're still working to correct that one.
We've got time to approve it the next, so I guess we'll just wait,
Anytime.
right? Yes. Or Michael could stay home, I guess, I don't know. What we want.
I make a motion that we approve the field trips as listed.
Second.
A motion from Christina, a second from Trevor. Any questions or discussion? Assuming motion is to approve all of them, Christina?
Yes.
Second as well. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The motion carries 7-0. Moving on, discussion information. First item, new teacher orientation will be Gretchen.
All right, first of all, I apologize to David because he already heard all of this before, but I wanted to share just an overview with you as the board for what we did this week to welcome our new staff members. So we had 6 of our new staff members were able to join us for breakfast this week to welcome them to the community, and we had members of Wa-Nee and Wa-Nee there to welcome them. We went through and we talked about, my message was, what does it mean to be Wa-Nee? And so just thinking about when I was getting ready for it, I was thinking about like what it meant for me to be Wa-Nee and what made it special. And so I just shared a story about before I started working in Wa-Nee and before I started working in any school district, visiting a different school district and just taking in the atmosphere and taking in some negative talk on the radios and some negative conversations and things in the office area, and just the feeling that I had being there versus the first time that I came to a Wa-Nee school before I was working here even, and just the cleanliness of the outside and how our custodial staff makes it just so welcoming and inviting, and how they take such good care of our buildings, and how the floor was still shiny when I walked in the hallway of the high school for one of the programs, and the floor squeaked when you walked because it was so clean, and how I was just amazed at the upkeep, and everyone was smiling and laughing, and the kids were laughing and smiling, and how it was just so inviting that I wanted to just talk to everyone and I wanted to stay. So then fast forward, when I started working here, my kids had already started in another school district, and so I let them come and visit Wa-Nee one day when they didn't have school, but we did here. And I told them, just check it out for a day and see what you guys think, and if you like it, then next year you'll be able to come. And they both were like beaming ear to ear. They loved every minute of it, and they wanted to be here. And so just thinking about Wa-Nee is a place that's special that you want to be at. And there's something unique about it, and so what makes it special? And so thinking through that and preparing for this meeting, I was looking through various pictures of different events from throughout the year to share with the new teachers. And so I was looking through, and at first I thought about our core values and our norms and sharing that with them because that's the core of what makes us up. And then I thought about our tagline of a tradition of excellence versus a standard of excellence. And you know, a couple years ago we changed it from a tradition of excellence to a standard of excellence, but yet I can't give up the tradition of excellence. I still write that on everything that I create. And so I talked about, you know, it's really both. Like we have this tradition of excellence that we are proud of. Like we have a lot of pride in the excellence that we've had, but yet we do have this standard that we want to uphold and maintain. And we do have this standard that we set for creating that welcoming environment. And so it can be both. And so looking through those pictures, I really identified like common themes of academic excellence, of just excellence beyond the classroom, it's beyond academics, of excellence of learning and laughter, that inviting environment, of making a difference, of giving back to the communities, and a culture of care. So yes, we talk about academic excellence, and we talk about our data, we talk about being in the top 5%, we talk about the number of students that grew in Ivory performances, we talk about the fact that we outperformed the state in every SAT benchmark the last year, and we had the highest graduation rate, we're on track to do so again. We talk about all of those things, but that just means that we're setting students up for success. And so that is great, that's what we're here for, we're in the business of teaching and learning. But it's more than just the data too. We have students who are, you know, performing high at state competitions with academic teams. We have students who are performing well in things like Battle of the Books and they're becoming avid readers. We have students who are national qualifiers for BPA. We have students who are winning state and world championships for robotics. We have state championships for math academic teams. We have AP success on all the AP exams. We have more AP students earning AP exam scores of 3s and 4s. We have students earning AP capstones, ICC. But it's beyond the classroom too, it's beyond the academics, because that first time I set foot into Wa-Nee as a visitor, I didn't know the academics. But it's beyond the classroom, it's those performances, it's that arts, it's the pride that all of our teachers put into the art shows, the musicals, the dramas, our kids pour into them. It's the excellence that you see in everything that they do for all things. We have awards in yearbook. We have awards for the state winner for the speaking. We have band. We have so many different ways. And of course, beyond the classroom in sports, we have, I think it was 417 athletes out of our high school. Huge numbers and huge success. But then it's also about creating connections. Our staff go out of their way to just make positive memories for students all the time. They dress up, and they make fools of themselves sometimes. They try to make these positive memories and lasting impressions for kids and make learning fun and make experiences fun, make live board games for them, dress up in character for them, anything to put a smile on their face and to make those connections. We're a school district that gives back, whether it's community gardens or make meal challenges or Riley's Children's Hospital, and then caring for each other, you know, just making sure that they're showing up for each other with lots of food, and more food, lots of coffee carts and taking care of each other in those winter days or before testing, things like that. Appreciation days for us Ergos, for teachers. We have the All-Pro dads to lift up the dads and try to support them. We have just different ways that they care for each other, whether it's staff caring for staff, for administrators, for our families. And then we talked about how those experiences don't happen by accident, that it takes a whole team. So I introduced the administrative team at that point. But we talked about how, again, it's our honor, our tradition, but we don't rely on it. We have to show up every day, every interaction we take, we make and have, every lesson, every conversation. It's our opportunity to uphold our standard of excellence. And so just asking the new staff and all of the staff in the room, Like, what are we going to do to contribute to our tradition and our standard of excellence? And so I provided you with a booklet from that day, and in the back there is a listing of all of the staff as well, of the new staff at that time. We've had a couple more since then actually, and their roles, so that we have those as well. So I just wanted to kind of share that brief overview with you so that you had a chance. And then at the end, the two chambers, we used to go every other year to Wa-Nee and Wakarusa, and since then we've just combined, which is really nice. And so Wa-Nee and Wakarusa just do it jointly, and so I work with Brock and Bill, and we have it at Doc's Pavilion every year, and they are remarkable, and they have provided beautiful gifts for our new teachers from the different organizations and businesses around both communities. And so it was just a really nice way of welcoming them. So wanted to share that experience with all of you.
Well, thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry I couldn't make it this year, but
It's okay.
it's
There'll be one
special.
next year too, I'm sure.
There will be.
Thank you. So next we have Teacher Evaluation Professional Growth Network. Gretchen.
All right, I have Michael here with me too. So Michael and I, he is union president, we've been working together on looking at our teacher evaluation tool and our professional growth framework. And so we really came together with some teachers, administrators, and we just have been kind of massaging it for, I don't know, the last few months, and we've really come up with something that I think we're both really proud of, and I think everyone's really excited about. So some things that stay the same on it, we're still doing the same teacher, 100% of the teacher score comes from the rubric, which is the same as what it was before. The same amount of observations for the last one as this one. Teachers still have an opportunity to do a video observation, which is what they had in the last one, and it's still a 4-level evaluation scale. So none of that has changed in the new model versus the old. So why do we need a change? All of these things and more have been new since the old evaluation or former evaluation was put together and implemented here at Wa-Nee. So we've been kind of adjusting it as much as possible and trying to tweak it along the way, but it was really time that we adjusted the whole tool to meet our needs. So as a district, we've really grown and we've outgrown our evaluation tool, and so we needed to change it, and it's time to change it to update it to reflect our current practices. These are some of our guiding beliefs when we came in to work with this evaluation tool. We want to make sure that it's every student every day, explicit instruction every day, relationships and emotional safety are important, and that the evaluation system should really be about supporting professional growth, which was a huge component of what we wanted to make sure was really lifted up in there as well. So we wanted these 3 goals too. We wanted instructional alignment, we wanted consistency no matter who was evaluating you, and we wanted support for teachers through this practice. We didn't want it to just be something the principals did and teachers received and that was it. We wanted it to be something that was supportive. So one thing that's a big change is that our current evaluation tool has 2 big domains, a planning and an instruction. So 20% of your score is for your planning, 80% is your instruction. In the new proposed model, you can see the breakdown, there's 4 different categories. So 20% would still be planning and preparation. Your instructional delivery would be 40%. And we've added learning environment and culture for 20%, and we've added professional responsibilities and core values as 20%. Core values were not part of our previous evaluation plan, and we felt that it really needed to be embedded and part of the new one. One of the parts that I think Michael and I are both really excited about is the coaching framework that has been added. This is a new component. So previously, our plan had the teacher evaluation, and you could end up with an improvement plan if you were struggling. Under the new model, we added a component in between there of a coaching framework, where this is not a punitive model. This is something that a teacher can voluntarily ask for, job-embedded professional development that's very formalized, and they would go through a process working with the team, and they can ask for it, or a principal could say, hey, I suggest this for you. And so the teacher could accept it, and they could go through this coaching framework in this model. So this is all laid out in the plan as well. Some improvement plan, the updated improvement plan process is more detailed, it's more step-by-step now. There's defined roles and responsibilities throughout, so we were looking for more consistency between the improvement plans. If a teacher is on an improvement plan on any building, it should look very similar in the process they go to. There's an expectations meeting that is set at the very beginning of the whole improvement plan process, and it's very clear what happens during that expectations meeting. There is an active improvement cycle that's outlined, so each phase that the teacher goes through in that cycle, and there's a midpoint review and a final review that's outlined so the teacher knows exactly where they're at, what's expected, and how they're doing along the way. And then there's some supports for teachers for this transition from the old framework to the new one. So originally we were going to have 1 year where this was like the training year, and we were going to maybe have a few people pilot it, but the principals and the teacher team were like, we all want it. And so we said, okay, what we'll do is we'll flip-flop that. We'll say all teachers will be on the new plan, but that for this year they have the opportunity to opt out and do the old evaluation if they want to for 1 year, while they get trained on the new one, if that's the case. So for this year only, we would ask that they be able to have the opportunity to keep the old one or do the new one. But then beginning in 27-28 school year, every teacher would be on the new plan. Michael and I plan to do professional development with each of the buildings also on the 4 different domains and components of the framework so that there's clarity and common understanding on each component with each of the buildings. And then the principals are also going to work with their coaches to provide professional learning on each of the components. And so what does differentiated learning look like if I walk into your classroom? What should I look for? What would I see? And making sure that teachers in their building have that common understanding and that there aren't any surprises there. And Michael, did I miss anything?
No. The only thing that I would add is it was a very collaborative process, and Gretchen invited members from each of, well, through me, I invited members from each of the buildings and various grade levels. So the group of teachers that participated in feedback, there's a wide range, and we felt very heard during that meeting, so we really liked the opportunity to collaborate with them on that.
Thank you.
So I'll bring it back in a couple weeks and ask for approval at that time. If there's any questions right now or in the next couple weeks, then I'll answer them at that time as well.
I guess that was my main question. I think you answered it. Was like if we got all the buildings, because obviously it's a big difference to high school, middle school, and elementary. But it sounds like there was pretty overwhelming support from what you picked up through the all the way through.
We had someone from every building.
Yeah.
We tried to get people in different subjects as well. You know, at the higher grade levels. It was a little tricky to reel people in on the summer, but those that came were very dedicated. So there's good feedback.
Any other questions? Last item, we'll do this.
Hard to believe we're here, but staff comes back on August 19th, students return on the 20th. We did have a lot of work going on this summer. From a total cost standpoint, it was one of the least expensive, but it just seemed like some of the projects that we were getting completed just ran into several snags. So you will know, Napanee Elementary School, the ethos outside there, that's going to be a continuing, ongoing project over the course of the year. We're going to work with them to make it as least intrusive with instruction as possible. One big item that we ran into was a lot of windows. They have not shipped out yet. There's just a huge backlog right now on windows. And so we're not real clear yet when those are going to be scheduled to be installed. But again, it will have to occur during breaks. It will have to occur outside of instruction because it's not going to impact learning of students and teaching. Another big one that you'll probably notice is the project at Northwood Middle School, the old gym. We finally did receive the tiles that are going to go on the ceiling, so those will start to be installed. Unfortunately, though, that will impact the start of the school year. So from a PE standpoint, we will make arrangements to go outside. There's a messing about starting project at that point in time, so we still have some flexibility for our RPE, but there will be some impacts in some games and things like that for volleyball. There's just no way around it right now. Because of the duration of the project itself, we just didn't see any breaks. And Steve really didn't want any other period of time for that to occur. Why that's problematic is also, if you recall, next year is when the flooring is going to be demoed and installed, and so we certainly don't want large equipment hanging building tile on a brand new floor. So we've got to get that done sometime this year, and so that's just one of the challenges we ran into. But hopefully by September it'll all be over. So other than that, we're ready to rock. We just had our last teaching position filled. I don't know if I didn't jinx it, and we'll be ready to go for the start of the year. So, happy to answer any questions you guys have. That's all we have this evening.
If you no further business coming to the board, a motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Christina, second from John. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.